Witness, discover, create, break through. This UMS season presents some of the world's leading performing artists, along with some performances that will challenge your perspective. As the leading university-based performing arts organization, we invite you to take advantage of all we have to offer right here in your own backyard. Expand your horizons, challenge your everyday, inspire your creative energy. Introducing the 2014-15 UMS season. We invite you to take the journey with us.
There are three really exciting, relatively unexpected aspects to this year's Choral Union series. There's an emphasis placed on orchestras in general.
I feel a real special connection with the Mariinsky Orchestra, conducted by Valery Gergiev. He has loved Hill Auditorium. The audience here loves them, our staff loves them, and they love this place. We're lucky to have the Mariinsky here, not just for one concert, but for two. And in fact, the second concert is going to be a very special one. This will be our Ford Honors, at which they'll be receiving our UMS Distinguished Artist Award.
The San Francisco Symphony loves coming back to Hill Auditorium because it's really a second home to them. We'll get to hear Mahler's 7th Symphony, and then another evening of Prokofiev with Gil Shaham, the violinist, and Ravel with an appearance by the UMS Choral Union, and Liszt.
Over the years, I've gotten to know Michael Tilson Thomas. We've come to recognize we're born in the same year, 1 week apart. He's born on the 21st of December, and I'm a week later. And I think Michael's making something of his 70th birthday. I'm trying to hide it.
So the second aspect that I think is really special and exciting about this season's Choral Union series is the fact that piano and the art of the piano creates a thread that exists through almost every concert this coming year. Whether it be great pianists in recital, such as the American master of the keyboard Richard Good, who'll be giving the final recital of the season, or the return of Yujia Wang, who has been here twice already. I think audiences have really started to feel connection with her. She'll be returning in recital with an important musical collaborator in her life, the great Leonidas Kavakos. We also have Hélène Grimaud making her UMS debut this season with the Rotterdam Philharmonic, playing the Ravel Concerto, and a young Korean virtuoso, Sunwook Kim, will be coming with the Seoul Philharmonic, conducted by Myung-Whun Chung, playing actually one of my favorite pieces of music, the Beethoven Piano Concerto No. 5. The third aspect of this season's upcoming Choral Union series that's really, I think, an expectation of audiences that we will continue our relationship with the great music directors of the world. Having Myung-Whun Chung back to Ann Arbor is really special for me personally. I love this man's artistry and what he's able to unlock from music and a group of musicians. Now he gets to be with us with his other orchestra from Seoul, the Seoul Philharmonic. A very important debut of a relatively young but impressive musical talent who is creating quite a stir, and that is Yannick Nézet-Séguin. He's the music director of the Philadelphia Orchestra. He also is the music director of the Rotterdam Philharmonic. Dynamic, exciting, someone we need to know and want to get to know and have a long relationship with.
The rivers, let the damned water beat. There's some people down the way that's thirsty, so let the liquid
The 2014-15 Jazz Series is the 21st annual Jazz Series, featuring 6 events, 3 of which are unique and distinctive to Ann Arbor alone.
Clap your hands now. Go ahead and clap your hands now. Clap your hands now. Go ahead and clap your hands now.
UMS is opening the 21st annual Jazz Series with a performance by jazz male vocalist Gregory Porter at the Michigan Theater on October 15th. Gregory just won the 2014 Grammy Award for Best Jazz Vocal Album. He is only 42 years old, and he's really all about storytelling. He is really compared right now to a lot of the R&B soul singers from the 70s rather than to many of his contemporary jazz vocalists. His first album was recorded when he was about 37, 38 years old, and it was Wynton Marsalis who brought him really onto the jazz platform. Wynton is an unquestionable virtuoso, the most important trumpet player of our generation. He does so much for youth and education. Over the years that I've worked with him, there's just this absolute dedication to the mentorship and apprenticeship that is at the heart of jazz. In addition to being one of the foremost interpreters of big band repertoire, Wynton and the orchestra also serve as the perfect introduction to the jazz world and the jazz universe. I like to think of them as a gateway drug to the rest of what the jazz world offers. So Bob James was actually born in Missouri, but attended University of Michigan and is a distinguished alum of the School of Music, Theater, and Dance. We're so excited to be able to bring Bob in and honor him with a very special, unique to Ann Arbor homecoming concert that's going to be happening at Hill Auditorium. Bob is 74 years old. He's a keyboardist, pianist, producer, and arranger. He's probably most well known for 2 things: his smooth jazz ensemble named Foreplay, and he also is the composer of the 1978 theme to Taxi. For quite some time, we've been hoping to bring Bob James back to Ann Arbor and to Hill Auditorium for a special concert, but the opportunity hasn't really arisen until now. Bill Frisell was the very first artist that I worked with back in 1999 when I was at UMS. We presented him with an amazing band at the Power Center in 1999, and it's kind of been a shame that we haven't been able to bring Bill back. He's one of the most innovative and special and unique artists. He is someone who's changed the entire game of guitar through his lyricism on the instrument, the ability to communicate on the guitar, and he's one of the masters of communication in all of jazz. Whenever I'm traveling to a city and I see that Bill Frisell is in town, I'm there. The jazz tour this season has to be a duet concert with the legendary pianists and composers Herbie Hancock and Chick Corea. Both are Miles Davis alum. Both come out of sort of the later phase of 1960s Miles Davis. Both went on to lead 2 of the most famous fusion bands during the 1970s. Having these 2 legends with their collective consciousness and their collective experiences together at Hill Auditorium is really going to possibly blow the roof off of Hill.
Giselle did not like the world, and she knew the world did not like her. The first time she fell in love, it had lasted 13 seconds.
This year coming up has some real, what I would call outlier, boundary-pushing moments when we grapple with the definition of what is dance. The first work on the season is a brilliant, completely impossible to describe, called Kiss and Cry, created by a company called Charleroi Danse in Charleroi, Belgium. It's a hybrid theater, dance, film object, movement, encounter that takes a series of little micro ballets for fingers and blows them up through film to tell the story of a woman's life.
These blues, nothing compares.
It's a really extraordinary redefinition or provocation, let's call it a provocation, on what dance can look like. We'll then have Compagnie Marie Chouinard back with us. Marie Chouinard is a Montreal-based dance maker of just extraordinary, unique, singular vision. She has ideas about what dance looks like. She has ideas about how the body moves, storytelling through movement that are perfectly hers. They're totally unique to her. You look at the work on stage and you know it's Marie Chouinard.
Kyle Abraham's latest work that we'll be presenting in 2015 is inspired by 150 years of the Emancipation Proclamation and 20 years of apartheid ending in South Africa. Kyle fuses his background in both the visual arts, hip-hop, ballet, his classical training in piano and cello into a really personal choreographic movement style. Kyle's work, When the Wolves Came In, is really a two-evening work. So the first evening would be a full evening with his full company of 9 dancers, and the second evening is composed of 3 different parts with a smaller full company and a solo by Kyle and lots of duets.
This season's legacy offering is the last tour of Trisha Brown's company. Trisha Brown was an iconic, real founder of the Judson Church School postmodern dance movement. Postmodernism really was primarily concerned with reacting against the formalism of composed dance works in the theater. I think at the end of the day, people are going to walk out of the theater with an incredible sense of the range and the importance of this important female American artist's work and contribution to our history of dance. It's actually pretty unusual for us to bring back something in the dance category that we've presented once before. But when something's as special as Maggie Morin's Cinderella, you just have to bring it back. It happens at the very, very end of the season, not only the dance season, but the UMS season, and it's joyful, it's magical, it's inspiring. It's a wonderful way to walk out of the season into spring in Ann Arbor.
In the beginning, we're not sure that dreams are actually dreams. And then in the beginning, more than anything else, we don't know how long it's all going to last.
I think what I love the most about theater is that it seems to me of all of sort of the performing art forms, the one most specially able or uniquely able to cause really monumental shifts in sort of perspective for people that participate.
There are a lot of people who would say all dance is theater. And we do have a couple of offerings this year that are really concerned with blurring those ideas. One is the Charleroi Danse Kiss and Cry. The other is a really remarkable work by a company based in Nantes, France, called Compagnie Non Nova, a reimagining of Debussy's famous ballet, Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun.
Afternoon of the Faun is a piece that the creator refers to as a wind play. And it's essentially a whole series of plastic bags that are cut up and reconstructed back into these sort of little characters that are then sent adrift in just a breeze. We've all had a moment where we've maybe seen a plastic bag floating in the wind, and there's a strange kind of beauty to that.
One aspect of UMS's International Theater Series has been the development of relationships with other producing theaters and institutions. And included in that long list of relationships is a developing one with a very important producing theater in Paris, Théâtre de la Vie, whose artistic director, Emmanuel de Marcy Mota, is viewed as a real shining light, a bright, young, rising directorial star, and real visionary about the meaning of the theater and the work that can be embraced by his theater in Paris. We first had them visit us 2 seasons ago with his production of Ionesco's Rhinoceros. They understood that something really special happens in Ann Arbor. And so we're bringing Emmanuel and his company back to Ann Arbor for a presentation of Pirandello's 6 Characters in Search of an Author. And this is another sort of canonical, iconic early modernist work of the 20th century that I'm sure audiences are really going to have a good time with. The piece that we've included in this season on the theater calendar that I'm sure when I'm standing in the lobby afterwards will create the largest number of questions is a grand visual art music work created by a Japanese man named Ryoji Ikeda called Superposition. I think at the center of this piece is an exploration about the world of data, microdata, data visualization, taking that visualized idea and blowing it up into a large theatrical installation. It's really exploring a world that we view as being disconnected from the performing arts, science and research and data, and reimagining it as material for aesthetic experience for an audience. The world of theater is so broad, so multi-defined, and so open to interpretation that to do anything other than create an ongoing experience of surprise, artistic diversity, the unexpected, would be, I think, dishonest to what the theater is and can be. Composers oftentimes saved the chamber music or the small format of composition for their most interesting and innovative and experimental ideas. And so we get to relive that every time we come together in the Rackham Auditorium. There are a couple things about this upcoming Chamber Art series that stand out. One is we've made a concerted effort this season in putting on display new work that UMS helped to make possible, music that we invested in. A new string quartet will be given its world premiere by the Emerson String Quartet by Lowell Lieberman. We have a new solo work for violin that we've helped commission for Jenny Coe, which she'll include in her Bach and Beyond Part 3 concert. It's really tricky curating or putting together a chamber art series because I think you're always trying to balance two ideas that are in tension with one another. On the one hand, you're trying to continue relationships that have existed a long time between a group of musicians and audiences, so you want to be bringing groups back that we've come to love, like the Emerson String Quartet, like the Belcher Quartet, who will now be here for the third time. And then on the other hand, it's this impulse and need to make sure we're introducing new artists, new ideas into the series. I think one of the reasons I'm so excited about Quatuor Eben is they're so clearly committed to expanding on the idea of what it means to be a quartet of musicians. On the one hand, they will give you the most thrilling, convincing performance of a Beethoven quartet at the highest level, and then just U-turn and launch into jazz standards, improvise, sing, and take you on this roller coaster ride of what it means to be a quartet of musicians. And the fact that they're able to negotiate these two very different worlds so adeptly and so convincingly, I think thrills audiences, and I know Ann Arbor is just going to go crazy for these guys.
One of my fondest memories of being at UMS was working with the members of 8th Blackbird the last time they came through Ann Arbor. This is a chamber music group whose unique instrumentation actually, demands that compositions are composed for them. They're not able to pull works from the Western European classical music canon because those pieces just don't exist for this instrumentation. Because of this, they're able to collaborate with many of our wonderful contemporary and frequently younger artists that are composing what we like to call new music.
Renegade really is just a frame that we've created to draw attention to and pull out certain events in our season where we think curious audiences, individuals who self-define as being curious and adventurous, encounter new ideas, experimentation, and innovation in the world of music, dance, theater, and performance. One thing that's been really important to me is hammering on this idea that renegadeness is not something that only exists in the present. It's an absolute aspect of our cultural history, our artistic history. A lot of regular UMS concert goers have been pretty blown away by how wonderful Apollo's Fire is. And now we'll have them come back again, but this time to St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church to give a performance of the epic Monteverdi Vespers of 1610. Monteverdi, over the course of his compositional life, really takes Western music history from the Renaissance into the Baroque, and this work really represents the culmination of Monteverdi.
So excited about presenting Dawn of MIDI. Dawn of MIDI is taking this electroacoustic approach to their music making. What you're going to be hearing is a repetition and a minimalism in the music, much like a Steve Reich or a Philip Glass. It's a slow burn. Audiences sort of go on a transcendent journey, almost like a Kawal or Qawwali party. If you go with it, you're going to really be moved. Oliver Mtukudzi is Zimbabwe's national treasure. It's a real coup that we're able to bring Tuku, as he's known, to Michigan Theater in April with his band, the Black Spirits. He has been able to fuse various musical traditions from Zimbabwe and all of South Africa into his music. John Coltrane's The Love Supreme, as many of you know, is absolutely one of the seminal albums of the 20th century, especially within the jazz canon. It was John Coltrane's overt testament to the power of God. Instead of having a jazz ensemble or a jazz artist reinterpret A Love Supreme for the 50th anniversary, we wanted to do something a little bit different. It's going to be a fascinating experience to hear what they're going to do with such a powerful work as Coltrane's Love Supreme in the hands of really some of the most wonderful proponents of African American gospel music in the country. It's going to be a night to remember.
A standout artist from a few seasons back that almost immediately resulted in unending questions from all sorts of different people. When are you going to have him back? Was Max Raab and his Palast Orchestra from Berlin. He has a cabaret big band that he brings with him. And then he takes that style of singing and extends it to popular songs that we all hear on the radio today. It's a wonderful mix of seriousness, deviousness, and irony, all wrapped up in a package.
Dream a little dream of me. Oh, I love to go out fishing in a river or a creek, but I don't enjoy it half as much as dancing cheek to cheek.
UMS represents the leaders and best in university-based performing arts organizations, engaging students through access to experiences that can positively affect the one who may, in turn, affect the many. Our bold vision is to advance the world through life-changing, transformational experiences. This year, we'd love for you to be a part of UMS on every level. Attend performances, engage at educational events, and consider a gift to help us fulfill our vision. It's because of our generous donors that we are the strong organization we are today, and we need your support to take us to the next level. For more information, please visit ums.org. Thank you.
So that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I seek when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek.